To put it lightly, Formula One rookie Nikita Mazepin is tough to watch. Mazepin, or Mazaspin as he's come to be known, has been ruffling feathers and rubbing bumpers on racetracks for years. But his arrival in Formula One in 2021 only accelerated the conversation around whether or not he actually deserves his spot in the most legendary racing series in the world. And while Mazepin's embarrassing and sometimes dangerous performance alone would justify the outcry that's resulted in a hashtag and a website that counts up from the last time he spun, everything has been exacerbated by the fact that he essentially bought his way behind the wheel. Or rather, Mazepin's daddy buying his way in. You see, this is Dmitry Mazepin, Nikita's dad. He's a Russian oligarch, billionaire, and founder of Uralchem, a company with a yearly revenue of more than $100 billion. The elder Mazepin is currently spending $20 million a year for his son to be able to drive alongside Mick Schumacher on the Haas F1 team. So that begs the question, can you buy yourself into F1?
Big thanks to insurance comparison site The Zebra for sponsoring today's episode. For the next 60-ish seconds, you aren't going to see anything fancy, just all of us looking all melancholy, wasting the money we were paid for this ad. So hopefully we're boring enough that you use the next now 48 seconds to compare insurance policies with The Zebra. It's really that easy. Go to thezebra.com/wheelhouse to start your search today. Don't worry, we'll wait to start the episode. You've got like 30 more seconds. Oh, did you open a new tab and go to the Zebra and think I wouldn't say anything else? Well, for those still watching and who don't know about the Zebra, they're the nation's leading car insurance comparison site that has no stake in what policy you get. They really just want you to get the best policy for you. The Zebra is super convenient. You enter some basic info and you can sort through all sorts of options picked by the experts at the Zebra. Bing, bang, boom. You got yourself a new policy. Well, our time is almost up, so click the link in the description or head to thezebra.com/wheelhouse and learn everything you ever wanted to know about car insurance.
The fact is, racing costs money. No matter how talented you are, unless you have the money to show up, you're not going to be taking any podiums. You want to be the best basketball player in the world? You can grab a ball for $20 and practice dribbling and crossovers until your fingers fall off. Hop on down to the local court and start challenging people. The only thing it'll cost is your afternoon and perhaps your pride. But if you want to race, you're going to need some cash. Hell, even a good sim setup is going to cost you a few grand. And that's not an option for a lot of kids. So how does a driver even make it into Formula One? Well, let's map it out. First, you're going to want to go karting. And I don't mean the go-karts you absolutely dominated at your cousin's birthday that one year. I'm talking about shifter karts. FIA-regulated, 100-mile-per-hour, open-wheel buzz bombs, sporting engines that rev up to 16,000 RPM in races that last up to 24 hours. This isn't kid stuff, and it comes with adult price tags to match. Think 40 to 50 grand a year or more just to show up at the beginner levels. All the Formula One drivers get started in karting, and they begin earlier than you might think. Current champ Lewis Hamilton started at 8. Max Verstappen was 5. Some start as young as 3. Yeah, 3 years old. When I was 3, I was still struggling to use the toilet. And these guys are starting their racing careers. Let's say you start at 5 and spend 4 years making waves in the karting world. That's conceivably $200K out the window already. By now you're around 10 years old and looking to move up. Every next rung on the ladder is going to cost you more than the last, though it's not unheard of to skip a step or two. But either way, now is the time to start looking for sponsors, because by the time you make your way up to the senior karting level, you can expect to drop around 80 to 100 grand a year. And you'd better plan to compete for a couple of years at least before moving up to the next rung on the ladder, Formula 4. These junior open wheelers are capped at 160 horsepower, but at least the cars in Formula 4 finally look like Formula 1 cars and not little carts. The bad news is though, there's another price jump. The rules are intended to cap the price of entry at around $125,000 a year, but that's not the total price, as it doesn't factor in incidentals like travel and, accommodations. The most likely scenario is that even if you're insanely talented, you're going to spend the next 5 years moving up through Formula 4, Formula 3, and Formula 2, with huge price bumps at every level. For instance, a single year of Formula 2 could cost you several $million, all for the hope that you'll do well enough to get noticed. Because even if you're the best of the best, the sad fact is, you still can't drive Formula 1. In order for that to happen, there are still some hurdles to overcome, and money won't solve them all. First, to drive F1, you have to be at least 18 years old. That's easy enough. But you also have to score a minimum of 40 points in races over a 3-year period in the lower tiers. If you absolutely dominate out there, you could get this done in a single weekend, but that's easier said than done in Formula 2 versus Formula 1. Just the standings are way more unpredictable. In Formula 2, the races are much closer, and the winner of the previous race might not even place in the subsequent race. Still, 40 points in 3 years is a perfectly attainable goal. The real barrier to entry is completing 300 laps in an F1 car, because you're not going to be able to do that on your own. Like, you need a team to invite you out and put you in their car with their permission. Or you can fulfill all those requirements and then pay your way into a drive. Got $20 million or so? That can only get you a spot on a lower level team, but you will be behind the wheel in F1. Lots of drivers over the years have taken this line. You ever heard of Sergio Perez, Lance Stroll, Pastor Maldonado? How about Michael Schumacher or Niki Lauda? All of them were pay drivers, and all of them made a name for themselves one way or another. Lots of teams have used pay drivers as a reliable source of revenue. In fact, this practice got so bad in the 70s that teams would have 6 to 10 drivers in a season, some of them only doing one race. Also, the team could raise enough money to live for another season. They eventually changed the rules so you couldn't do this. Dang, there goes my shot. I was gonna borrow James's up-to-speed wages. I could drive on those things, as long as it's not at Monaco. Even if you did go the traditional route and didn't buy your way in, you'll still have invested millions and millions just to get to this point, just to earn the opportunity to compete at this level. This means you had to be pretty damn close to rich before you even sat behind the wheel. And you wouldn't be alone. Senna, Clark, Hill, all rich. All the way back to the first F1 champion, Nino Farina, who was heir to the Farina coach building fortune, a company that built custom bodies for Lancias, Fiats, Alfas, and Ferraris before the latter's partnership with Pininfarina. From its very inception, F1 has been a playground for the rich, for the same reasons that you don't see a lot of poor people getting into competitive sailing. Rich guys have always played with expensive toys, but while you can buy your way into F1 to a degree, you can't just buy your way into a championship, as Mazepin has proven. You still need talent. All the money in the world isn't going to buy you the 40 points you need to qualify, and for that, you're going to have to win some races. Not everyone can do that. And that's ignoring the overall fitness you need to compete at the Formula 1 level. Driving in Formula 1 is like doing P90X while driving in Formula 1. Over the 2-hour, 300-kilometer race, drivers are going to battle extreme dehydration, lose about 3 quarts of bodily fluids, experience extended exposure to temperatures well in excess of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I would not do well. I sweat a lot. And they drop half a dozen pounds of overall body weight. They also pee in their suits. Maybe I'm not so envious of them after all. Also, they're racing against the other 19 best drivers in the world, and the concentration needed to maintain that focus throughout a race is something I just don't have. I tried reading a book the other day and I almost died. Race conditions like that can send regular people into shock or worse, so it's no surprise that drivers like Jenson Button compete in triathlons, while Alex Zanardi, who tragically lost his legs in a race in 2001, went on to become a world champion hand cyclist, winning 2 golds and a silver medal at the 2012 London Paralympics. These guys are athletes, no asterisk needed. Hey, if you're liking this video so far, hit that like button. It really helps us out, and that's the only time I'll ask. So, is it fair that your average sim superstar is never gonna have the resources to show their stuff in Formula 1? No, but that doesn't mean you can just buy your way into a championship either. Into Formula 1, sort of, but a championship, that's gonna take a bit more than money. It takes discipline, focus, and most of all, talent to get to spray the champagne. But yes, also money. But that doesn't mean you need tons of money to go racing. Find your local Sports Car Club of America chapter and you can try out autocross for literally dozens of dollars. I do autocross a lot and it's a lot of fun. Graham is nodding his head behind the camera. He's done it too. Here you can just race your daily driver and it's not unheard of to see a bone stock Yaris beat Mustangs, Camaros, and even Corvettes around the tight autocross tracks. It's all about the driver, not the car. There's also Spec Miata Racing, the most popular club racing in the world. You can get started there for as little as $5,000. You probably won't win because top cars spend upwards of $100K on their rides, but there's nothing stopping you from showing up and giving it a go. Or you can do the 24 Hours of Lemons, a series of endurance races up to, 24 hours long, where participants are forbidden to spend more than $500 on the cars. And that's a situation where you can buy yourself in and actually stand a chance of winning. If you're like me, you spent your youth drooling over fast cars, idolizing professional drivers, and playing every racing video game that came along, secretly harboring thoughts of spraying the champagne yourself one day. If you're like me, that never happened. Sure, there are Cinderella stories where the underdog was given the chance to run with the pack and leapfrog that to a successful career, but the big obstacle here is the same as it is in most places, and that is money. Even if some drivers pay their way behind the wheel, in the end, they're paying to embarrass themselves.
Are you a fan of the Type R or just cool cars in general? Have you ever felt like something was missing? Something big, but also small? Well, I have something for you. Introducing Stocky. That was f***ing sick. Introducing Stocky, the brand new high-quality car collectible for us, car nerds. We wanted to make something the perfect size to display on your desk, next to your TV, in your dorm room, in the shop, wherever. We explored a ton of different deformations before finally landing on this, something that we think is the perfect mix of fun and stylized while still staying true to the original car. Speaking of the car, we want to make a ton of different Stockies, but for Stocky 001, we knew that we had to go with one of the most iconic and legendary tuner cars of all time, the DC2 Integra Type R. And I am so stoked to announce that we have partnered with Acura, making this an officially licensed Acura product. We're launching this in a bunch of sick different colorways, everything from OEM finishes like Phoenix Yellow, authentic Honda Championship White, and Nighthawk Black Pearl, to crazy versions like Glow in the Dark, Primer Gray, Translucent. We're even gonna make a gold one, like actual gold. We're really stoked with how it turned out, and we hope that you guys are too. Now's your chance. Get one early. The Kickstarter is only up for 30 days. Get yourself a rad new collectible. You deserve it.
Thank you very much for watching Wheelhouse this week. If you're a donut super freak and you want to chat with other fans like yourself and get exclusive content, check out the Donut Underground and click that join button right down there. It's for the super freaks only. Check out our podcast, Past Gas. We talk a lot about Formula One, and it's a really great time. Check us out on other social media at Donut Media. Follow me at Nolan J. Sykes if you want. Don't let these rich guys get you down. You can still go racing. Be kind. I'll see you next time.